Hi, I'm Louise Parks. I'm Director of Research and Development at Voice Project, and I am passionate about improving organisations by giving people a voice. We do this at Voice Project by conducting employee engagement, Leadership 360 and customer satisfaction surveys. Usually with our staff surveys, we look at what organisations can do to support the wellbeing and engagement of staff. However, I'd like to share with you some research that we recently conducted in aged care organisations to find out what workplace practices are most important for satisfying the needs of clients and residents. Now, we know that staff are already under significant pressure to operate under tight timeframes and limited resources. So increasing customer choice and competition actually has the potential to further stretch staff. So a key question that we wanted to look at is whether practices that drive customer satisfaction also support staff, or do they make life harder for staff? Our participants in this research were over 6,000 staff in 14 residential, respite and community aged care services across New South Wales, who had completed a voice staff engagement survey between 2014 and 2016. The majority of staff were frontline carers, but also included clinical staff in allied health and other roles, support staff in roles like hospitality, maintenance and gardening, and managers and office staff. Now, not all of these organisations had completed customer feedback directly. So instead we used staff's perception of customer satisfaction from our staff surveys. And staff provided feedback on whether they thought their organisation provided high quality services, whether they thought their organisation understands their customers' needs, and whether they think customers are satisfied with their organisation's services. On average, 82% of staff rated customer satisfaction positive. However, this ranged quite a lot between the organisations, from as low as 64% of staff up to 91%. It also appears that managers and office staff can be a little removed from the realities of day-to-day frontline experiences. 90% of them rated their customer service positively, compared to the 81% of frontline staff in clinical support and direct care roles. In the voice engagement survey, customer satisfaction is one of three aspects of perceptions of an organisation's progress. The other two are whether the organisation is achieving its objectives and how staff feel about change and how innovative the organisation is. And you can see that in the bottom right-hand corner there. The other key outcome that the survey looks at is staff passion or engagement. And this measures how committed staff are to your organisation, how much they enjoy their jobs, and whether they want to stay working with you. The survey also measures 27 different work and management practices, which you can see to the left there, and they're organised in the key systems of purpose, property, participation, people and peace. The green areas that you can see are those practices which are rated particularly favourably. More than 80% of staff rate these positively, and they're centred for aged care around purpose and passion. Staff in aged care tend to be strongly aligned with the mission and values of their organisations and are passionate about what they do. Now, this group of 14 aged care organisations are a pretty high performing group on average. They were 9% higher than other organisations across industries in our database, across all of the different workplace practices. And as well as purpose and passion, you can see that they also report a particularly strong focus on worker health and safety and the quality of facilities. When we look at the relationship between customer satisfaction and these other work practices and outcomes, we get a pretty clear picture that customer-focused organisations are great places to work. Unsurprisingly, high customer satisfaction is closely associated with achieving organisation objectives, being innovative and managing change well. Staff who reported high customer satisfaction also saw their organisations as successful, having a positive future, being innovative, continually improving and learning from mistakes and successes. These progress outcomes, which include customer satisfaction, are actually the strongest drivers of staff engagement. Simply, it's motivating to work in an organisation that is doing a great job of caring for clients and residents. Staff who rated customer satisfaction high were more likely to feel proud to tell people that they work for their organisation and to feel a sense of loyalty and commitment to their organisation. What are the workplace practices that support quality services and customer satisfaction? In this gap analysis, you can see all of the practices mapped out, both vertically in terms of their performance and horizontally in terms of the impact that they have on perceived customer satisfaction. In the top right, we have what we'd call positive drivers. These are practices that are important for customer satisfaction, that the aged care organisations are currently performing well. As we've already seen, staff commitment to the organisation is closely aligned to customer satisfaction, and this works both ways. Committed staff are undoubtedly driving high quality care and services. The other things that we saw emerging in this quadrant were ethics, results focus, and safety. In the bottom right-hand quadrant, we see what we call performance gaps. These are practices that are important for customer satisfaction, but the organisations are performing less well in these areas. And these included leadership, recognition, involvement and cross-unit cooperation. So let's look at the positive drivers first. Two of these were expected, but the third was a bit of a surprise. So these are practices that are important for customer satisfaction and that most of the organisations in our sample are doing pretty well at. So ethics is about whether the organisation is seen as socially responsible. So for example, it's pretty important that the organisation is demonstrably motivated by a genuine care and compassion for older people rather than profit, for example. Results focus is about keeping a strong focus on achieving positive results. And for example, can be seen by driving and measuring results through key performance indicators for quality of care and customer satisfaction. Worker health and safety was a little bit of a surprise to be emerging here. It is about the priority that the organisation places on safety and how much that is supported by managers and supervisors. On reflection, quality and safety often sit under the same governance and organisation reporting structures, so it's likely that expertise in this area will flow through to both. Also, both staff safety and quality of care are likely to benefit from that combination of a focus on results and responsible social ethics. There were 4 key practice gaps that were identified as important for customer satisfaction. Investment in these areas is likely to improve customer satisfaction. Recognition is about acknowledging staff achievements, demonstrating confidence in staff, and finding ways to recognise staff contributions. Staff who feel valued themselves are more likely to value and respect the people that they're caring for. Cross-unit cooperation is about sharing information and cooperating across team boundaries. This includes collaboration at both macro and micro levels. For example, sharing best practice across services and locations, which will enhance organisational learning and innovation. And at a micro level, staff in different roles or specialties sharing their knowledge of individual clients to enable more personalised care. Leadership is about having capable senior leaders who model the organisation values and have a collaborative style. Attitudes flow from the top. Organisations must carefully recruit leaders for fit with values, invest in the development of their senior leaders, and improve the visibility of their senior leaders to staff and the communication between staff and senior leaders. And finally, involvement, which is about encouraging staff to have input into everyday decision making and ensuring that they feel safe to voice concerns. This means empowering staff to be more involved in decisions about client care and creating a culture where it's safe to report risks, incidents, and abuse. The good news for staff is that each of these 4 practice gaps are also strong drivers of staff engagement and well-being. So targeting improvements in these areas will have multiple benefits for both customers and staff. Now, while most of the strategies are synergistic, there was one area that potentially poses a conflict of staff and client interests. From a staff perspective, the research shows that finding a good work-life balance is very important for maintaining well-being. However, of the 27 different practices, work-life balance was the least related to customer satisfaction. And this suggests that there may be a tension between providing consistency of care to clients and residents and providing flexibility of work hours for staff. With a workforce that's largely comprised of older, female and part-time staff, finding creative solutions will be a critical management challenge. In summary, this research suggests that competitive strategies will be a win-win for staff and clients. A greater focus on customer satisfaction is engaging for staff, and valuing staff leads to greater customer service and satisfaction. To be successful, strategies should target recognising, empowering and involving staff, developing senior leaders, and facilitating collaboration across role and service boundaries to better meet client needs. If you would like to find out more about this research or about the staff, leader and customer surveys that we are running with aged care organisations, please give me a call or shoot through an email. I'd love to connect with you.